What are you doing in my suite? Carolyn froze. The man in front of her, black robe, dragon tattoos crawling up his chest, expression cold enough to stop her heart, was Hong Dal-soo, the Korean Mafia boss who hadn't let a woman within 10 feet of him since Busan. Since the betrayal. Since the bloodshed. Her cleaning cart beeped. He heard it before she did. A tracker. Hidden. Planted. She wasn't supposed to be here. Someone sent her. And now 3 armed guards had weapons trained on her head while masked attackers breached the building below, demanding one thing. Bring us the girl. Carolyn Hall came to work that morning worried about rent. She's ending it trapped in a penthouse with a killer who just became her only chance at survival. Subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories if you've ever walked through the wrong door and changed 2 lives forever. The penthouse doors sealed shut with a hiss. At 23, Carolyn Hall was juggling 2 part-time jobs, medical bills that kept stacking higher than her paycheck, and rent she was already 3 weeks behind on. Her younger brother Marcus needed medication she couldn't afford. The electricity bill sat unopened on her kitchen counter. And the housekeeping job at Sky Glass Penthouse Tower? That was supposed to be the stable one. The safe one. The one where she kept her head down, stayed invisible, and collected a paycheck that kept them both alive. She'd cleaned hundreds of rooms in the last 6 months. Penthouses where billionaires left $1,000 watches on nightstands. Suites where champagne bottles cost more than her monthly rent. She'd learned to move like a ghost. Silent, efficient, unnoticed. But on the morning everything changed. The elevator betrayed her. The lights flickered. The mechanism groaned. And when the doors opened on the 90th floor, her cleaning cart rolled forward before she could stop it. Momentum pulling her into the hallway she was never supposed to enter. Suite 900. The one every staff member whispered about. The one managers avoided assigning. The one with a single rule carved into every employee handbook. Do not enter Suite 900 without explicit authorization. Because Suite 900 belonged to Hong Dal-soo. And Dal-soo didn't allow women within 10 feet of him. Not after Busan. Not after the betrayal that cost him half his syndicate and nearly his life. Not after the woman he trusted destroyed everything he'd built and left him bleeding on a warehouse floor 3 years ago. Carolyn didn't know any of that when she pushed open the door, her voice already rehearsing the polite apology she perfected over months of service. Housekeeping, I'm so sorry for the... The words died in her throat. The suite stretched before her like something out of a dream, or a nightmare. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Seoul skyline. Glass walls reflected the morning light. Minimalist furniture, dark wood, soundproofed silence that pressed against her ears like cotton. And then she saw him. Hong Dal-soo stood near the open balcony doors, black silk robe slung loosely over his shoulders, exposing the intricate tattoos that covered his chest and arms. Dragons coiled around symbols she couldn't read, ink that looked like it had been carved into his skin with purpose and pain. His hair was damp, slicked back, and his expression, sharp, cold, dangerously calm. He turned slowly, and their eyes locked. Carolyn froze. Her cleaning tray slipped from her hands, crashing to the marble floor. Bottles scattered. The sound echoed like gunfire. I'm so sorry, she stammered, backing toward the door. Wrong room. The elevator it just opened and I didn't. That door doesn't just open. His voice was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that made her skin crawl. Before she could respond, the suite exploded into chaos. 3 security officers burst through hidden panels in the walls, weapons half drawn, radios crackling with sharp commands. They moved like trained soldiers, precise, lethal, surrounding her in seconds. Sir, you said no contact. I know what I said, Dal-soo snapped, his gaze never leaving Carolyn's face. Stand down. The officers hesitated, then lowered their weapons but didn't holster them. Dal-soo stepped closer. Carolyn's breath caught. She could see the scars now, faint white lines across his collarbone, a deeper one along his jaw. Evidence of a life lived in violence. Who sent you? He asked. No one. Carolyn's voice cracked. I swear, I just got the wrong floor, the elevator malfunctioned. But he wasn't listening to her words. He was listening to something else. A faint beep. Soft. Rhythmic. Coming from her cleaning cart. Dal-soo's jaw tightened. He moved past her, crouched beside the cart, and pulled out a small black device attached to the underside of the lower shelf. A tracker. Carolyn's blood turned to ice. I don't know what that is. Someone planted this. Dalsu stood, holding the device between two fingers like it might explode. Someone guided you here. But I didn't. The security monitors on the wall flickered to life. Static. Then a face appeared, hooded, masked, voice distorted through a scrambler. Hong Dalsu. The voice was mocking, venomous. You kept yourself hidden for 3 years. Today you made a mistake. You let someone in. Carolyn felt her knees weaken. Dalsu's expression didn't change, but his knuckles went white. The voice continued. She walked right into your fortress. And now she's leverage. I don't even know him. Carolyn shouted at the screen, panic flooding her chest. I'm just a maid. The masked figure laughed. Doesn't matter what you are. Matters what he thinks you are. The screen went black. Silence. Then Dalsu turned to her, and the calm in his voice was more terrifying than any threat. They think you matter to me, he said quietly. That makes you leverage. But I don't. It doesn't matter. His eyes were cold, calculating. What matters is they believe it. Alarms shrieked through the suite. Red lights flashed along the walls. The security officers shouted into their radios. Sir, we have a breach on the 87th floor. Lockdown, Dalsu ordered. Full protocol. Metal shutters slammed down over the windows. The doors sealed with hydraulic hisses. Laser grids activated across every exit. The suite transformed into a fortress in seconds. Carolyn backed against the wall, trembling. What's happening? Dalsu moved toward a hidden panel, retrieving a sleek black handgun. He checked the chamber with the ease of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. Someone just used you to infiltrate my security. He turned to his guards. She doesn't leave my sight. No. Carolyn shook her head. You can't keep me here. I have a job my brother needs. Dalsu stepped closer, and she fell silent. If they grab you, he said, voice low and brutal, they'll use you to get to me. And they won't hesitate to hurt you. To kill you. To make sure I watch. The logic was merciless. But true. She was trapped. Not because he wanted her there, but because someone out there did. The security feed crackled. Smoke filled the hallway outside. Shadows moved behind the haze. And somewhere in the building below, footsteps echoed closer. Hit subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories if you believe innocent people shouldn't be used as pawns in someone else's game. Comment what time you're watching this. Only manipulators and cowards stay silent when someone's being targeted. The smoke detector shrieked. Emergency lights bathed the suite in pulsing red. Carolyn pressed herself against the wall, heart hammering so hard she thought her ribs might crack. Dalsu moved to the security console, fingers flying across the touchscreen. His guards flanked the sealed entrance, weapons raised, eyes locked on the monitors showing smoke billowing through the hallway outside. Bring her, Dalsu said without turning. 2 guards moved toward Carolyn. She flinched back. Wait, please, I didn't do anything. That's what we're about to confirm. Dalsu gestured toward a chair near the console. Sit. She sat. Not because she wanted to. Because her legs wouldn't hold her anymore. Dalsu pulled up footage from the building security system. Grainy black and white images of the staff supply room on the 6th floor. Timestamp. 5:47 a.m. A hooded figure slipped through the door, spent 30 seconds near the cleaning carts, then disappeared. That's where you got your cot this morning, Dalsu said. It wasn't a question. Carolyn nodded, throat dry. I always get assigned from that room. Same time every day. Who knows your schedule? Everyone. It's posted in the break room. Her voice shook. All the housekeeping staff can see it. Dalsu's jaw tightened. He pulled up another angle. The elevator shaft. The footage showed the elevator stopping on the 90th floor at 7:32 a.m. Exactly when Carolyn had arrived. But the timestamp was wrong. The elevator wasn't supposed to stop there. It had been overridden. Someone hacked the elevator system, one of the guards said. Rerouted her directly to this floor. Carolyn's stomach dropped. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Dalsu studied her face for a long moment, looking for cracks. For lies. For any sign she was part of this. She held his gaze, terrified but steady. I clean rooms. That's all I do. I don't know you. I don't know who those people are. I just need this job because my brother. Her voice broke. My brother has epilepsy. His medication costs more than I make in a week. If I lose this job, I lose everything. Something flickered in Dalsu's expression. Brief. Almost imperceptible. Then it was gone. You're not part of this, he said finally. But that doesn't matter anymore. What do you mean? It means they saw you enter my suite. They saw me respond. They saw my security mobilize. He turned back to the monitors. In their eyes, you're already connected to me. Which makes you a target. But I'm not. Logic doesn't matter in war. His tone was flat. Final. Perception does. Carolyn stood, panic flooding back. Then I'll leave. I'll go home. I'll disappear. You can't. Dalsu cut her off. The moment you step outside my protection, they'll grab you. Interrogate you. Use you as bait to draw me out. He paused. And when you can't give them what they want because you don't know anything, they'll kill you to send me a message. The words landed like physical blows. So what am I supposed to do? She whispered. Stay here. Under my sight. Until I neutralize the threat. For how long? As long as it takes. A massive explosion rocked the building. The floor trembled. Glass rattled in the sealed windows. The lights flickered, died, then kicked back on through emergency generators. Sir, they've breached the 85th floor, a guard shouted. Multiple hostiles. Armed with military-grade explosives. Dalsu moved with terrifying calm. Activate the panic room. Now. One of the guards pressed his palm against a hidden panel. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a reinforced steel chamber lined with monitors, oxygen tanks, and enough supplies to withstand a siege. Get inside, Dalsu told Carolyn. What about you? I'm buying you time. Another explosion. Closer this time. The suite shuddered. Dust rained from the ceiling. Carolyn stumbled into the panic room. The space was small, suffocating. Monitors showed every angle of the suite. The sealed entrance, the hallways, the stairwells filling with smoke. She watched as shadows moved through the haze. Figures in tactical gear. Weapons glinting in the emergency lights. They were coming. Dalsu checked his weapon. His movements precise and practiced. He exchanged a glance with his guards. Some silent communication she couldn't read. Then he turned toward the panic room entrance where Carolyn stood frozen. Stay inside no matter what you hear, he said. Wait. The hallway outside erupted in gunfire. The sealed entrance buckled. Metal screeched. Smoke poured through gaps in the doorframe. Dalsu moved toward the breach, weapon raised. His guards formed a defensive line. The first explosion hit. The blast wave slammed into the suite like a freight train. Carolyn screamed. The monitors flickered. Smoke filled every camera angle. Through the chaos, she saw Dalsu step into the hallway. Saw him disappear into the smoke. Then he stopped. Turned. Reached back. His hand closed around her wrist. Stay behind me, he commanded, pulling her out of the panic room as the second blast tore through the wall behind her. Don't let go. Dalsu moved like death itself. Silent, efficient, unstoppable. His grip on Carolyn's wrist was iron as he pulled her through the smoke-filled hallway, his weapon raised in his free hand. Every step was calculated. Every breath controlled. Gunfire erupted ahead. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness like lightning. Dalsu didn't flinch. He fired twice. 2 precise shots that dropped shadows Carolyn barely saw. Bodies hit the floor with heavy thuds. She wanted to scream. Wanted to run. But his hand kept her anchored. Kept her moving forward. Eyes on me, he commanded without looking back. Don't look at them. But she'd already seen. The blood. The stillness. The way violence moved through this world like it was breathing. They reached a corner. Dalsu pressed her against the wall, his body shielding hers as another volley of gunfire tore through the space they just occupied. Bullets punched holes in the drywall. Glass shattered somewhere behind them. His guards returned fire, their movements synchronized like a choreographed dance of destruction. They advanced, forcing the attackers back, creating an opening. Then the gas canisters came. 3 of them rolled across the marble floor, hissing white smoke that filled the hallway in seconds. Visibility dropped to nothing. Carolyn's eyes burned. Her throat closed. Dalsu pulled a black cloth from his pocket, pressed it over her mouth and nose. Breathe through this. Shallow breaths. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Through the smoke, a voice called out. Cold. Mocking. Bring us the girl, Dal-Su. She's all we want. Hand her over and we walk away. Carolyn's blood turned to ice. Dal-Su's jaw tightened. You think he cares about you? The voice continued. He'll trade you the second it's convenient. That's who he is. I'm not important, Carolyn gasped through the cloth. Tell them, I'm nobody. Dal-Su cut her off. It's not about you. It's about what they think you are. His eyes locked onto hers through the haze. And right now they think you're leverage. He turned to his guards. Diversion. East corridor. Draw them away. 2 guards nodded and disappeared into the smoke. Seconds later, gunfire erupted from the opposite direction. Shouts. Confusion. The attacker's attention shifted. Dal-Su moved. He pulled Carolyn toward what looked like a solid wall, pressed his palm against a hidden panel. The wall split open, revealing a narrow passageway lit by emergency strips along the floor. Go, he ordered. Carolyn hesitated at the entrance to the dark tunnel. Every instinct screamed at her to run. To get away from him. From the guns. From the violence that clung to him like a second skin. She bolted. Not into the tunnel. Back toward the stairwell. Toward the fire exit she'd seen earlier. Toward escape. Dal-Su caught her before she made it 3 steps. His hand closed around her arm, spinning her back. Are you insane? His voice was low. Dangerous. They're in the stairwells. They're covering every exit. I can't. She was shaking. I can't do this. You don't have a choice. I didn't ask for this. Neither did I. Something flashed in his eyes. Pain. Old and buried deep. But here we are. For a moment, she saw past the weapon in his hand. Past the tattoos and the violence. She saw someone who didn't want her here any more than she wanted to be here. Someone fighting against every instinct to keep distance, to stay isolated, to never let anyone close enough to hurt him again. Busan. The betrayal. The woman who died because he wasn't careful enough. She could see it written in the tension of his shoulders. The way he held himself just slightly too far away, even while keeping her within arm's reach. I won't let them take you, he said quietly. But you have to trust me. Carolyn swallowed hard. Nodded. They entered the tunnel together. The passage was narrow, claustrophobic. Concrete walls pressed close on both sides. The air was stale, heavy. Emergency lights cast everything in sickly yellow. Dal-Su moved ahead, weapon sweeping the darkness. Carolyn followed, her hand brushing the wall for balance. They descended. Stairs. More corridors. The sounds of the battle above faded to distant echoes. How far does this go? Carolyn whispered. Underground parking. 3 levels down. We'll take a secure vehicle. The explosion cut him off. The ceiling above them erupted. Concrete and steel rained down. The tunnel shook. Lights shattered. Dust filled the air in choking clouds. Dal-Su grabbed Carolyn, pulling her against the wall as debris crashed where they'd been standing. A massive chunk of concrete blocked the path behind them. Another collapse ahead sealed off the forward route. The dust settled. They were trapped. Buried in darkness. The only light coming from Dal-Su's phone screen. A pale blue glow that barely penetrated the black. Carolyn's ears rang. Her lungs burned. She could feel Dal-Su's heartbeat where his chest pressed against her shoulder. Steady, controlled, even now. They knew, he said quietly. They knew about the tunnels. Which meant someone on the inside had betrayed him. Again. Subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories if you can't stand people who use innocent lives as collateral damage in their twisted games. Comment, protect the innocent. If you believe targeting someone who did nothing wrong is pure evil. Only cowards stay silent. The darkness pressed in from all sides. Carolyn's breathing came too fast, too shallow. The walls felt closer with every second. Concrete dust coated her throat. Dal-Su's phone light swept across the collapsed tunnel. Rubble blocked both directions. The only way forward was through a gap in the debris. Narrow, unstable, barely wide enough to crawl through. Stay close, he said, voice cutting through her panic. Watch where I step. They moved through the wreckage. Every sound amplified in the confined space. The scrape of their shoes. The shift of loose concrete. Carolyn's ragged breathing. Dal-Su navigated like he'd memorized every inch of these tunnels. But she noticed something else. The way he flinched when debris brushed his shoulder. The way he kept precise distance even in the cramped passage. The way his jaw locked when she accidentally touched his arm steadying herself. He jerked away like she'd burned him. "Sorry," she whispered. He didn't respond. But his breathing had changed. Faster. Shallower. They reached a wider section where the ceiling hadn't completely collapsed. Dalsu stopped, leaned against the wall. His hand pressed against his chest. His eyes were somewhere else. Somewhere far away. "Are you okay?" Carolyn asked. Silence. Then quietly. Her name was Minji. Carolyn went still. She was part of my inner circle. My strategist. Someone I trusted with everything. His voice was flat. Emotionless. The kind of tone that came from burying pain so deep it couldn't surface. 3 years ago in Busan, she sold me out to a rival syndicate. Fed them my location. My security protocols. Everything. Why? Money. Power. Take your pick. He exhaled slowly. The ambush was supposed to kill me. It didn't. But the crossfire, he stopped. She died trying to run. Caught a bullet meant for me. Carolyn's throat tightened. "I'm sorry." "Don't be." She made her choice. But the tremor in his voice said otherwise. I swore after that. Never again. No one gets close. No one becomes a weakness. "Then why are you protecting me?" He looked at her. Really looked at her. "Because you're not her. You didn't choose this. And I won't let someone die because of me again." The weight of his words settled between them. Carolyn leaned against the opposite wall. "My brother Marcus is 14. He has epilepsy. The medication that controls his seizures costs $800 a month. Insurance covers half. Maybe." She laughed bitterly. "I work housekeeping at Skyglass. I deliver food at night. I clean offices on weekends. And I'm still behind on everything. Rent. Bills. His doctor appointments. Why not ask for help? From who? We don't have family. No safety net. Just me." She met his eyes. "That's why I can't lose this job. It's not just about me. If I go down, he goes down." Something shifted in Dalsu's expression. Recognition. Understanding. They were both protecting someone. Both trapped by circumstances they didn't choose. He pushed off the wall. "We keep moving. There's an emergency exit 2 corridors ahead." They navigated through the debris-filled tunnels. The air grew slightly fresher. A draft. Which meant an opening somewhere close. Dalsu's phone buzzed. He checked it, jaw tightening. "My guards. They've secured a route to the parking garage." Relief flooded through Carolyn. "We can get out?" "Maybe." He didn't sound convinced. They reached the exit, a heavy steel door marked with faded emergency signage. Dalsu tested the handle. Unlocked. He cracked it open, peered through, then slammed it shut. "What?" Carolyn asked. "Ambush. 6 hostiles. Covering all angles." Her stomach dropped. "How did they?" "They knew we'd come this way." His voice was ice. Someone inside gave them the tunnel schematics. His phone buzzed again. He read the message, and his expression went darker. "They're broadcasting a message. They want you. They think you have information about my operations." "But I don't know anything. They don't care." He showed her the screen. A video feed of the building's upper floors. Masked figures moving through corridors. Planting devices on support columns. Explosives. The message scrolled across the bottom. "Trade the girl. Stop the assault. You have 10 minutes. Carolyn's knees went weak. "They're going to blow up the building." "Only if I don't hand you over." She looked at him. Saw the calculation in his eyes. The cold logic of someone who'd made impossible choices before. "You should do it," she whispered. "Trade me. Save everyone else." "No." "But." "No." His tone left no room for argument. "I don't negotiate with people who use innocence as leverage." "Then what do we do?" Dalsu pulled up his phone, typed rapidly. Sent a message to his team. His phone buzzed with a response. He read it. Closed his eyes briefly. "They're wiring the 90th floor. The 88th. The 85th. He looked at Carolyn. "They're not bluffing." "How long?" 8 minutes. The tunnel suddenly felt smaller. Colder. Somewhere above them, explosives were being armed. Lives hung in the balance. And the clock was counting down. "There's one more way out," Dalsu said, pulling Carolyn away from the blocked exit. "Service elevator shaft. Manual override." "How far?" 50 meters. Through that maintenance corridor. They ran. Dust and darkness surrounded them. The tunnel trembled. Somewhere above, the first explosion detonated. The sound was muffled but unmistakable. A deep, resonating boom that shook the foundation. Carolyn stumbled. Dalsu caught her, kept her moving. They reached a rusted metal ladder built into the wall. Above it, a steel hatch leading to the elevator shaft. "Climb," Dalsu ordered. Carolyn grabbed the rungs, hands shaking. She climbed. Dalsu followed close behind. He pushed open the hatch and they emerged into the elevator shaft, a vertical tunnel of cables and metal framework stretching up into darkness. One elevator car hung suspended 3 floors above them. Empty. Functional. Another explosion rocked the building. Closer this time. The entire structure groaned. Cables swayed. Dust rained down. "Move!" Dalsu grabbed a service cable, pulling himself up the framework. Carolyn followed, her arms burning, terror driving every movement. They reached the elevator. Dalsu pried open the emergency hatch on top, dropped inside, then pulled Carolyn down after him. He jabbed the button for the underground garage. Nothing happened. He punched in an override code on the maintenance panel. The elevator lurched. Started descending. Through the metal walls, they heard it. A chain reaction of explosions tearing through the upper floors. 90. 88. 85. Each blast followed by the sickening sound of concrete collapsing. The elevator shuddered violently. Sparks flew from the control panel. "Come on," Dalsu muttered, hand hovering over his weapon. The elevator stopped. Underground garage. Level 3. The doors opened onto chaos. 6 masked attackers waited in formation. Weapons trained on the elevator. On them. Dalsu moved before Carolyn could process. He shoved her behind a concrete pillar as gunfire erupted. Bullets sparked off metal. Ricocheted off concrete. He returned fire with surgical precision. 2 attackers dropped. The others scattered, taking cover behind vehicles. "Stay down," Dalsu commanded. Carolyn pressed herself against the pillar, heart hammering. She could see the exit 50 feet away. Could see Dalsu moving between vehicles like a predator. Could see the masked leader emerging from behind a black van. The leader was bigger than the others. Moved differently. Confident. Unhurried. "Hong Dalsu," the leader called out. 3 years hiding. And you come out for a maid." Dalsu didn't respond. He was calculating. Positioning. "You've gone soft. And you've made a mistake." The leader laughed. "What mistake?" "We have you pinned. The building's collapsing." "And the girl?" Carolyn saw the opening. Saw the fire alarm panel 3 feet from her pillar. Saw the sprinkler system controls. She lunged for it. Smashed the glass. Pulled the lever. Instantly, sprinklers activated throughout the garage. Water cascaded down. Visibility dropped. The attackers hesitated, searching through the artificial rain. Dalsu moved. He closed the distance between himself and the leader in seconds. The leader raised his weapon. Dalsu deflected it, twisted, struck with brutal efficiency. The gun clattered away. They fought hand to hand. Precise. Violent. Dalsu blocked, countered, drove his opponent back. The leader was trained, but Dalsu was something else entirely. Every movement calculated. Every strike devastating. The leader went down hard. Didn't get up. Dalsu grabbed something from the leader's tactical vest. A small electronic device with the hotel's security logo stamped on it. The system override. The tool used to guide Carolyn to Suite 900. "Carolyn, move!" Dalsu shouted. She ran toward him. The remaining attackers were regrouping, taking aim. A black tactical vehicle screeched around the corner. Dalsu's guards. The passenger door flew open. Dalsu grabbed Carolyn's arm, pushed her inside, dove in after her. The vehicle peeled out as gunfire exploded behind them. They burst through the garage exit into the Seoul night. Alarms shrieked from the tower. Fire trucks and police cars converged on the building. Smoke poured from the upper floors where the explosions had torn through concrete and steel. Carolyn stared out the window, watching the sky-glass tower disappear behind them. The place where she'd worked for 6 months. The job that was supposed to save her and Marcus. Gone. You can't go home, Dalsu said quietly. He was watching her in the reflection of the window. Not yet. Until we know who targeted you specifically, until we know why they chose you, you stay under protection. For how long? As long as it takes. Carolyn closed her eyes. 12 hours ago, her biggest worry was being late with rent. Now she was fleeing a war zone with a mafia boss who'd killed to keep her alive. Dalsu turned to look back at the tower through the rear window. His jaw was tight. His eyes dark with something she couldn't read. Anger. Betrayal. Calculation. Someone inside his organization had given up the tunnel routes. Someone had planted that tracker knowing Carolyn's schedule. Someone had used an innocent woman as bait to draw him out. And whoever it was would pay. The vehicle disappeared into the soul traffic, carrying 2 people whose lives had collided by accident and were now bound together by necessity. Neither of them knew what came next. But both of them knew nothing would ever be the same. Subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories and comment, "Justice over chaos" if you believe using innocent people as weapons is pure evil. Only those who support destruction and manipulation will scroll past.